G'day mates, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we've got a lot to cover from competitive over the last few days. We have records being broken, we have Stretch breaking the solo Cash Cup record, we have a Middle East console team breaking the console record and absolutely popping off, and they're actual console pros, so I'd love to highlight those guys. I also want to talk about the trio Cash Cups. We had some insane performances, like from Tayson's team on EU taken out first, Kanada's team taken out first on NA East, and Clix's Bizzle and Booga just falling short in second place on NA East. But that wasn't the biggest thing for Clix today. Clix made a few tweets that he's now deleted. I'm not going to show the tweets, but I do want to talk about the point he made, because by the time he deleted them, they got a bunch of attention and a few people agreed with him, a lot of people disagreed, and I want to give my take on it. Basically, Clix made tweets saying that he feels like Epic's targeting him unfairly for the things that he's done on social media compared to other pros and other people in the community. He's had his creator code taken away, he hasn't got a skin bundle, he hasn't got a tournament despite being one of, if not the biggest content creators for Fortnite, and he thinks it's a bit unfair, especially when the creator code was taken away for a very clear joke. So a lot of people jumped on this saying like the joke was terrible. Clix, you're always saying bad things, you got to step up and use your platform better, you got to be more mature. Then you have the other side of things, people saying, look, you're just a kid, you're making jokes, it's not that bad, they really shouldn't be punishing you. And I kind of want to talk about where I fall in all of this, because it's setting a really interesting precedent going forward. I already talked recently how Epic taking away Clix's creator code for a joke and a post on social media, a tweet, was a huge precedent and step forward for Epic Games towards being more of a serious esport. And I still believe that. I do think Fortnite pros need to be held more accountable for their actions. And unfortunately, in the past, when Fortnite has given out warnings or given out, more relaxed punishments, the pros haven't really learned and they haven't really, changed their act. I love Clix. I love a lot of the Fortnite pros. I acknowledge that they're kids. I get that, and I do really think that Clix is being punished pretty heavily for this, especially when a lot of people made the same tweet and the same joke. I believe if Epic gave back his creator code now, it would be that step towards Clix now realizing, okay, there's consequences for my actions. I got lucky that I got my code back. I need to shape up my act, and Clix has been tweeting that. And honestly, I know it's only been a few days of streams, but it does seem like Clix is taking it more seriously and trying to be a little bit more mature with his platform. And that's what it comes down to. I want Fortnite to be a proper esports like all the rest. I want people to get punished if they do the wrong thing or if they break the rules, but at the end of the day, Fortnite isn't other esports. It's predominantly played by kids, teenagers, and I don't want to disrespect them. A lot of these guys in the scene are handling situations that if I was their age, I would have absolutely crumbled under. But you got to remember, there is an age difference, and I know that shouldn't be an excuse. They're playing for millions of dollars, they're representing big companies, I get that, but you also need to handle it a little bit differently. When you're a kid, you have to expect that a lot of what kids and teenagers are doing, they don't really understand whether it's wrong or how wrong it is until there are some consequences. So there needs to be consequences, but there also needs to be the opportunity to learn from them and show that you've improved. And I know Clix has had a fair few chances in the past to do this, but I think previously, by not getting a skin bundle or not getting a tournament, it wasn't really like a direct Epic saying, look, Clix, we're not happy with you. You just kind of always had to assume, but them taking away his creator code is now that first, okay, Epic is really not happy with what I'm doing. I need to shape up my act. And I think Clix will in the future. I'll happily come back to this video and say I'm wrong if Epic gives Clix back his creator code and, makes everything right, and then he still goes on to be toxic towards them. But I think that almost no matter the circumstances, Fortnite pros need to be given another chance once they've had some consequences taken against them. At the same time, I fully understand why Epic has taken these actions against Clix. They need to make a statement, and there's no better player or person to make a statement in the scene than the biggest pro and the one that's going to get the biggest attention. Clix did try to use his social media platform to try and get his creator code back, to try to get some answers from Epic. In the tweets, he did say that he's reached out to Epic and they're just not responding to him. He's since deleted the tweets, but I don't condemn Clix for trying to use his social media presence. I mean, the reason why he's lost his code is because of what he posted on social media. It's kind of only, natural you would then use the positives of your big following to try to get something fixed. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts. I've kind of swung at both sides. I lean a little bit towards Clix, and I admit my bias. I like Clix. I think he's a really, really good guy, and I think that this is a pretty big punishment that's worth a lot of money, and I think he has learned his lesson. But I fully get Epic is a $1 billion company. They need to kind of start making, consequences or start taking action against players and pros who are stepping out of line. So it's a tough one. Let me know where you guys fall on it. Let's move on to some more positive stuff. Let's start looking at some of these record-breaking performances over the last few days. First one with Middle East. I know you guys always ask, Aussie, why don't you cover Middle East? Why don't you cover the smaller regions? And like I always say, unfortunately, people just don't really care that much about the smaller regions unless there's big performances like this to highlight. And I've really got to take my hat off and show some big respect to this team. Now, I'm probably going to potentially get these names wrong, but we had Hermanon, or Hamen on console would make sense. And then we had O3M and Tensor 1X. I'm sorry guys if you're watching this, I really apologize if I butchered your names, but they managed to win every single one of the 4 rounds of the Middle East Console Cup. They took out the $3,000 first place, but they won all 4 rounds, and they're on console. These are regular console pros. These aren't PC Middle East pros who then went back to console. They are the console players, which kind of makes me lean towards the statement I was making in yesterday's video that maybe having PC pros go to console and play on it isn't so bad, because when something like this happens and the console players beat them, they truly prove that they are the best of the best and they deserve that prize money. And I kind of hope they pick up some PCs and jump onto the PC track, because that is an insane performance. The other insane performance we saw recently was from Liquid Stretch in the Solo Cash Cup on NA East, playing 8 matches, winning 5 of them with an average elims of 4.75 and an average placement of 13.5. I mean, if you go back to the solo FNCS days and DreamHack solos, there was a period there where Stretch was absolutely dominating. He was winning almost everything. But since then, we've seen Stretch go, a little bit quiet. He hasn't been playing as well in solos, or a lot of the times I think he's just not really trying in solos, but it looks like Stretch is back in a big way. I mean, look at that difference between second, which was Sentinel's Animal on 172. Also, cheeky shout out to Animal. This guy has been playing since the skirmish days and he's still getting second best on NA East. Like, that is just unreal levels of just consistency over, we're talking years, like 3 years. Animal has been a relevant top tier competitive player. We also had Savage coming in 7th place, so EU popping off big in a solo cash cup on 161 points. He really does look like one of the world's best solo players right now. So I'm sorry I didn't cover the solo cash cup in yesterday's video. I did want to kind of save it until a video like this where I could look at some leaderboards a bit more and talk about some other record-breaking performances. Speaking of dominant performances, I mean, there's been so many across the board. We had the EU Trio Cash Cup. We had Forziard, Tayson, and Nate show up massively. They didn't get as many wins, but look at this match history. They played 8 matches, 3 wins, but they got a 41 elim first, an 8 elim second, a 10 elim fourth, a 13 elim first, a 5 elim fourth, a 12 elim win, and then unfortunately, right at the very end of the tournament, things kind of came a bit more unstuck. They got a 2 elim 25th and a 0 elim 28th. Can you imagine if they pulled off one more top tier, like top 5 placing game with a few elims? Even with those last 2 games massively dragging it down, their average placement was still 8.25. But it looks like EU was kind of on a placement streak, as we had Freaky's team in 2nd place get an average placement of 3rd, and they were still 18 points behind 1st place, which a few of the people looked at and thought, like, that looks a little bit off. But when you think about it, that difference was the first game. If you look at the 41 elim first compared to the 15 elim 3rd, that is what cost Freaky's team. You can get an average placement of 3rd in 7 games in a Trio Cash Cup, and you can still not win it just because you didn't have enough of a W key first game, which a lot of people still complain about, but especially on EU, the first game means the most. EU keys better than anyone else in any region. You need to drop those huge point games, because no matter how good you are at playing placement, if you don't get a big first game, you're just not winning. Just like always, when EU says something big, NA East has to come back with something as well. Bucky, Kanata, and Macwood got 225 points, even more than Tayson's team, playing 8 matches and getting 3 wins. And they had an average placement of 6.75. Similarly to Tayson's team, their last game was their worst game, or their 2nd worst game, getting a 5 elim 10th. But other than that, they started off with a 36 elim win, 13 elim 3rd, a 1 elim 25th, but again, that's only a 4-minute game, then a 7 elim 6th, 9 elim 7th, 11 elim win, 19 elim win. 19 elimination win in your second last game against high skill-based matchmaking teams. That's not the first game, that is the second last game. So they are looking ridiculous right now. We had Clix, Booga, Bizzle, like I already mentioned, get second place on 204 points. They got a 7 elim win in their final game. It was a really solid performance, and NA East was basically a who's who of NA East. We had Commandment Centered Edgy in third, Slacks, Jack, and Acorn in fourth, all looking like they're on top of the world coming into FNCS now. And we had EU showing up big. We had an EU team coming in 5th place with Bloomadil, Wave Joe, and Tomsy. So hats off to them, man. Top 5 EU and NA East is not easy in trios. Don't worry guys, the Heats videos are coming. I'm gonna work on one of them tomorrow because there's no tournaments tomorrow. I've got you covered, don't stress. We still have a few more days until Heat starts. The videos are coming, I promise. But that does it for today's video. If you liked it, please chuck a like on it. Let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on anything I've talked about so far. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It would mean the world to me. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.